Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to The Drop. I am very excited. I am with the one and only Ryan Paul. What's up, dude?
What's up, bro?
How are you?
I'm doing good, man.
Good. Man, welcome to the show. I'm hyped you're here.
Yeah, stoked to be here. I actually just came from snowboarding, testing out a jump today for an event that's coming up. And
Nice.
yeah,
Hey, I'll see you there.
Yeah, you're going to be announcing it.
I will.
So,
I'll be there.
I don't know when this is coming out. It might be after it, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm super stoked you could join us today. For those of you guys that don't know, Jordan is out of town this week, so lucky to have RP stop in and say what up. We got a super sick show for you guys. We're going to be talking all about starting your own snowboard brand, which this guy has done. And yeah, we're kind of just going to go through the steps, graphic wise, picking team riders. I mean, all kinds of different stuff. There's a lot that goes into it. First off, make sure you guys go and check out thedropsnowboarding.com. We've got all the latest episodes, links to subscribe, Spotify, Patreon if you guys want to join us. And then, of course, we have our web store. So make sure you guys give that a view. Super simple, super easy. Go check it out. All right. RP, what up, my dog?
What's up?
How are you, man?
I'm doing good, man.
So you started Sleep Snowboards how long ago?
I think, was this our 5th or 4th season? I don't know. Like 2020, basically like
Mid-COVID.
Like at COVID, pretty much. Like COVID started, and then that first year that we were all wearing masks, social distancing, all that stuff, like that's when we started Sleep.
Yeah.
I think it's 2020. Yeah, because 2019. So it must have been like 2019, 2020, I think.
Cool.
It's a blur. It's been so.
Why the name Sleep? What is that? Or is there a meaning behind it?
No. There's no really like meaning. Like I just was hanging out in my garage, like burning incense. It's probably like 3 a.m. or something, and I will be doodling.
Caffeinated up?
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much just like wired but tired. And yeah, just out there burning incense on my like leather couch, corner of the garage, whatever. And usually I'd just be doodling something, and I wrote the word sleep with like the double exclamation point or whatever, like the exclamation point with 2 dots, and pretty much just exactly like how you see it on the logo.
Yeah.
And it was on a piece of cardboard with like Sharpie and paint marker or something like that. And I was just like, oh, that looks sick. Like, that'd be kind of cool as a brand. But I didn't have like any plans of starting a snowboard brand at that time. I just was like doodling and writing stuff. And at first, honestly, I actually was like, oh, it'd be funny to do like a pajama company with like swaggy pajamas that like was like
a sleepwear company?
Yeah, like because I already own Zany, and like Zany's mostly clothes as well as like an online shop. But like Zany started as all clothes. I was like, it'd be funny to do this like extension of Zany that was like sleep or whatever, and it was like all for like being super comfy while you sleeping. And like I'd also like, I guess there was like a lot of like things that ended up tying the word sleep into my snowboarding. Like I'd line my snow pants with pajamas, like this like fake thing I made up called pajama line technology. And like I just do that.
Hopefully not cotton.
Dude, just to be like super comfy. And it doesn't even really matter here. I'd put in like either sweatpants or just like fleece or whatever. And I'd just do that because it'd be super comfy, a little extra warm. And like sometimes I would just fall asleep wearing my snowboard pants.
Yeah.
So anyways,
Who were you riding before you started Sleep?
I was riding for Zion Snowboards.
Okay.
Which is a small brand, out of business now.
Was that why you started your own brand? Because they were already out of business, or they were going out, or why did you just were like, I'm going to start my own brand?
Well, I didn't know if they were going out of business or not.
So they weren't out yet.
Yeah, they weren't out yet. And I had a pro model with Zion for like 10 years.
Killer whales are cool, man.
Yeah, one of them was the Killer Whales Are Cool deck. I should have brought you that.
Yeah, that board's so sick.
Let me try to get you one of those. Anyway, so yeah, they let me do the art for that. And that's how I learned Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, all this graphic design stuff. And essentially by the end of it, I was just sending my art to the factory and ordering my own samples and stuff. Because
were you picking like your own sizes and everything?
Sizes, shape, camber, flex, you know.
So could you like let's say that you wanted to like try a 148 with a wave shaped camber. Could you like order one for yourself and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, it got to that point where I was that involved with the brand that like
starting your own.
Yeah.
Starting your own was like already there almost.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you using the same factory that they were using?
Yeah, same factory.
Okay,
Yep.
so
A lot of people don't realize that like most brands are not the owners of their like your phone. Apple phones are probably not owned. Like Apple doesn't own their factory. Like So for the most part, most brands that you see in snowboarding don't own the factory. They outsource the manufacturing. And the factory will produce however many brands, but like you can do so much within that, like full customization of the board and all the guts, everything.
When I rode for Tech 9, I'm actually like looking at it right now, but one year like we were switching up factories and we had basically a catalog full of like
stuff that you can do.
Like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shapes, sizes, flex patterns, shapes, like everything. And it's like a little bit overwhelming. You're like, pick 4 that you think you'll want and like try it out. But I don't think people really realize how many how little factories there are and how many brands are actually made at all the same places.
Yeah, it's the same with skate too. Skate, it's like, what wood shop is your brand pressed in or whatever.
And you guys make skateboards too, right?
Yeah, we have another skate brand called Fungi.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, Fungi is the skate brand. Sleep is the board brand,
and Zany is the clothing brand.
Yep.
Was Zany ever a toy store, like an actual toy store?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know why. For some reason, I thought it was.
So we have the zanystore.com, which is like our website. That's essentially, I don't want to call it like a board shop because we don't, but it's just kind of like for like all things Zany. So Sleep.
Yeah.
Zany clothes. When we had like Killer Whales Are Cool was like kind of its own brand. Now it's sort of just meshed into the Zany brand, but like we'd have Killer Whales clothes and like, that we got Fungi and just all this stuff on that one store. But we branched off from that to start Sleep and made it more legit, like its own snowboard brand with its own website and all that stuff. So,
Sick. So talk us through it. Talk us through starting a snowboard brand. Obviously, you came up with an idea. Yep. Now you have the idea. You're, I guess, sort of fortunate in the way that you already had a kind of a relationship with a factory. But what sort of steps did you have to take in order to like go, well, let us in with, I mean, not everyone can probably just start a brand, but what steps did you take to...
I think a lot of factories maybe wouldn't work with you if you don't have the know-how. And so kind of having that in with Zion where I was already communicating with the factory and starting to, send my own graphics over that way and know what they needed for that, how to send the graphics over, what files, all that stuff.
Did you have to do minimums, like order minimums right off the bat?
Luckily,
did you have to order at least 100 boards or 50 or?
There are some factories where it's like you have to order this many, and then there are other ones where it's more of just like a price break at a certain amount. And so for Sleep, it's been nice. We've kind of run it like Sleep Limited, so we've been able to keep it pretty small from the start and not have to press like an insane amount of boards to begin with. And so we could start it from the ground up. Like our first season, we only made 26 boards total, like basically like 30 boards total, but 26.
I'm looking at your website right now, so I got it pulled up, and I'm looking. I mean, you guys have quite a few boards. You've got 3, 6, and these are all different models. Do these models all come in different sizes, also, or
so? The goal with starting small, right? We started with 3 different models that were only one size each, so 3 different sizes.
Yeah,
and like we're starting this grassroots, from the ground up. We don't have like angel investors or like tons of money just being dumped into it right away. So started small and then like are working our way out. So basically we started with a 146, 150 and a 155 and have slowly expanded from that to reach like more sizes.
Yeah.
And then have also added different cambers and whatnot. And every year we just did new graphics, new names for everything. Basically more like a skateboard company where if you go on a skateboard website, you pick out your size and it's probably named by the graphic. We kind of like latched onto that ideology for our brand to start out with. And now we're leaning a little bit more towards models where we're going to come out with like this shape, this camber, this flex, and that's one whole size run. So in the next couple of years, you'll probably see us going that route where it's like we have a full size run and we have a full size run of each model. And I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do yet with the graphics because I do still love like that skate thing where it's like one graphic or whatever, but I see in marketing like it might make more sense to be like riding a board that has like 8 different sizes kind of thing, and that's how most snowboard brands do it.
Yeah. I'm looking at 2 boards right now, the Ryan Paul Pink Cloud Pro.
Yep.
and the white elephant?
White elephant with a F.
With a black top sheet for the listeners.
Yep.
Yeah, so one size, one camber, one flex.
Yep.
And then the RP Pro, also mostly park boards, right?
Most of them are park boards. We got one POW board in there.
Okay. Yeah, so this one's also 150. I like this board. The graphic's sick.
Thank you.
A lot of people don't realize how hard it is to come up with. I mean, I'm
It's
responsible for one graphic a year. I don't know how you guys do it. That's a lot.
I was greedy.
Yeah, dude.
I
just don't have I have like one good creative idea.
It's funny because I think sometimes I overdo it. So like check that one right there, the shadow jumper. That one has the most basic, plain, simple graphic, not a lot going on, and that one sold out first. So
I like the base.
Yeah, I love that.
For those of you guys that are listening right now, we're just scrolling through the website and looking at the different boards. I think this one's sick. I mean, I like a simple top sheet. Kids want to cover it up in stickers anyways.
Yeah,
right?
No, for sure. Yeah, you want to draw on it or put stickers on it or whatever, or you just want to leave it blank and have like a nice, just like, I don't know. But I'm always like, I want to do all this crazy stuff. Like one of the boards behind me is the next year's Nightlight Pro, and it's got all this crazy stuff on it.
Which one's this one? The one,
this one right here.
Yeah.
Which is also inspired by a board that we did year 2 called the Dutch Oven. And it just has all this crazy stuff on it everywhere. And it's funny because some of these boards that I spend like way more time on and I'm all crazy, like tweaking everything and making it, like some of those don't even like sell that well. It's like almost just for me kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they're the ones I really like. Like I really like that there's so much on here. And even some of it, like you could probably just put like one of these things in the middle and have it be like a whiteboard and it would be a graphic.
Do you ever do like pre-orders, or you ordered 20 of those and you hope that they all sell?
We're doing it like kind of the normal typical way. I think at the beginning we wanted to maybe do stuff where it's like we did multiple drops a season, or we had like, I think the original idea was like not even having years attached to models.
Yeah,
like
just a board comes out.
Yeah, and
like,
that's why
like skateboarding. Like
exactly, like skateboarding. Like you're not like, oh, I'm riding the like
23, 24 flower or whatever.
Yeah, like the whitewash 30, whatever, like that. I don't even know what I'm saying right now, but like you're just like, I don't even know what the graphic is called. It's just a crooked board, or it's just a fucking awesome,
just the board,
or like cafe, whatever. Like I don't know, but I feel like what I've kind of learned in like the years doing this is like there's a lot of explaining to do with your snowboards and models, and there's so many different types of snowboarders that want different things, whereas skateboarding, like you can get into the nitty gritty of that, like wheelbase and all this stuff, but like it's a little more cut and dry. You don't have to explain as much to the consumer, and I think that's why people do year to year models. So we are kind of slowly shifting in that direction a little bit, but trying to keep our brand identity a little bit. So we'll see in the years to come exactly what we end up doing. But
when you're talking about you're talking to you said when we're talking to people, it's hard to explain. Are you talking to a shop, or are you talking to directly to the consumer / the person buying the snowboard?
Yeah, I think it's kind of both. It's buyers at stores. It's customers that want to talk to us and ask about our product, and it's a lot of relating back and forth from year to year and stuff like that. And a model is almost like a brand within a brand, kind of is how I think of it.
Yeah.
And so if you can build up the brand of that one model, people are like, oh, I know that. I know what that's for. I know what type of rider rides that model and how I can relate to them. Like, and they can kind of just go down that path and follow that vein. So I think that's the reason for that.
Yeah. And I guess now that I think about it too, I mean, when it comes to snowboards, obviously there's a very definitive season. Skateboarding is all year round, right?
Yeah.
Snowboarding certainly has its season, winter.
Yep.
So, and as far as like shops go, like the buying, like shops have X amount of months to be buying, right? They can't be like, oh yeah, we just spent our budget on X boards, but let's wait for Ryan's brand Sleep to release their fall graphics or whatever. Which could make it tricky, I guess.
It's possible. I think a lot of things are changing and shifting a little bit with the internet and also with COVID, but there is kind of a general timeline. I mean, there's not a general. There is a concrete timeline.
Yeah. Sell boards before Thanksgiving. or
it's like
Friday, whatever.
The ordering, and when people at shops start looking at ordering for next season and things like that. There's definitely like a rhythm to it and a method to the madness and all that. But yeah, I don't know. I think eventually we'll have like just our main sleep line, and then Sleep Limited will kind of transform into this like really limited, like like
individual releases.
Yeah, like a once in a while release thing, like a mid release or like even a summer release, because people board in the summer.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, like that's like one of the things that we'll end up doing when we get big.
Yeah, that's cool. So between selling online and selling in stores, which have you guys had more success with so far?
I'd say it's about 50-50.
Yeah.
We sell just as much online as we sell to stores.
And I'm assuming you're selling mostly here in the Minnesota area, but do you guys have like are shops in like Big Bear carrying them or anywhere like that?
Yeah, actually Get Boards in Big Bear's carrying them. So
sick.
Shout out Get Boards.
Dude, rad. So you've got them kind of all over the place. Anywhere on the East Coast also, or?
Nowhere on the East Coast. We might do some at EB, Eastern Border next year.
Dope.
We'll see. Not committed to that yet, but we talked to them a little bit, and so.
Well, I'm sure the nice thing for you is like you don't have to have like crazy minimums. Like if they wanted to order like 5 boards to try it out, like you can do that easy, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like shops, I think some of the bigger brands, like you have to order like however many thousands of dollars, and I'll sell you one board. Like, we don't have minimums for the shops. We just love to get our boards in there.
Yeah,
and, help promote the shops that are selling our boards and help them sell through.
That is,
bring the hype there.
Yeah, that's a huge thing about being a small brand is you're able to have that sort of like personal attention, personal care with those shops, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Which is sweet. And with the consumer. I mean, what like I'm sure that I'm not sure, but if you were a kid who had a sleep snowboard and he messaged you, you'd probably be replying, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, I talked to bunch of people online.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it does get a little overwhelming because we do get a lot of DMs, but most of them we get back to.
Well, that kind of leads me into the next thing I was going to ask you, as far as like, do you have like team riders? Do you have people that ride for you?
Yeah, we had a couple. Right now we got Van Rux. He's like a young buck. He's 14 from Buck Hill.
Yeah,
rips in the pipe, rips on rails.
A ripper.
And then we also have Dan Lands. He's I don't know how old he is, but 20, 21 or something.
Okay.
And also a ripper kid I've been watching for like a handful of years. He grew up at Afton Alps, which is where I grew up, and was kind of like always like in the mix and stuff. And then when we started Sleep, I was boarding with him one day and I was like, yo, you want to ride for Sleep? And he was just, his face just lit up.
Yeah,
like,
sick.
So yeah, we got him in the mix.
I'm sure that's what a lot of those DMs are that you get.
Yeah.
Do you get a lot of that? Like sponsor me tape type stuff sent to you?
We do. Yeah.
I know that one thing that a lot of people are always curious about, I mean, I'm sure you've been asked 50 million times. I know I have. How do I get sponsored? So if a kid DMs you or messages you, what advice do you give him as far as getting sponsored? Or what do you look for as a team manager / owner / everything?
That's the better question, because you do want to sometimes see it from like the brand's perspective. Like, why should this brand sponsor me? Like, why should they want to support my snowboarding? Why should they want to give me like $500, like a $500 product, like there might as well just be like handing you $500 or something. So, I mean, I guess that like you rip, obviously, like you're a dope person. Like that's cool. Like if you're not a dope person, then like, and people don't like you, I don't really want to sponsor you. So personality does come into it a little bit. And that's why it's a little harder to just like see a message, see somebody who wants to be sponsored and just be like, yeah, I'll sponsor. Like, I don't know them, So like most of the people that we do sponsor right now are people that I have personal relationships with, and I want to take a chance on them.
Well, I guess it's really tough. Also, again, like going back to like the small snowboard brand side of things, like since you have such a personal touch with everything and with everyone that's involved with it, you probably want to have a personal relationship with the dudes that are riding for you, I'd assume. So
yeah, and it's also like a toss up too. Like I'll go back to like, what am I looking for? It's like, yeah, that personality aspect is huge, but also like from just like a purely business standpoint, which like I don't love to like come on camera and just look like I'm just all about business and stuff, but there is obviously like a numbers side of things where you're like, does this person like show up on the internet where everyone's looking, right? Like YouTube, Instagram, maybe TikTok, like whatever. Like, do they have like a presence there as well as like in the real world, right? And like for me, like best case scenario is a person who's like running for mayor while they're riding. Like everybody knows them, like daps them
For
up.
sure.
You know, like, and
Yeah.
because like I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but like I'm kind of like that. Like I'm trying to be as friendly as I can to people. And if people know me like from the internet, like I want to like say what up and say hi if they're like shouting out at me or whatever. But like, yeah, for me, if I'm thinking of like riders that I would want to sponsor, it's like if I can find someone who's like that, like take a Zeb Powell, for instance. It's
Yeah.
like is like very energetic, like has like, you know, the persona, the charisma,
Yeah.
the Riz. Did you know
I
that?
mean,
That's short for Riz. Riz is short for charisma. Did you know that?
I've never even heard that term,
Oh.
but I'm also what most of these kids nowadays called an old head.
You're
So
an old head, bro.
I think so. I mean,
I don't know if I'd put you in the old head
endearing.
category, but
No,
I don't know. I feel like
appreciate
old
that.
head sounds like so disgruntled, you know, but at the
It
same
does.
time, like you could be a happy old head.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So I don't know. Like, I mean, someone can be quiet and conserved, but yeah, I don't know. I want to build this team eventually. Like, obviously, we don't have a huge team right now, but you know, like I want to build a team that's loyal to the brand and like riders that, you know, want both of us to succeed. And you know, if like the brand succeeds, then they succeed, and we keep pushing back and forth. Like that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that's always been really interesting to me is I feel like there's kids out there that just want to be sponsored to say that they're sponsored.
Yeah.
Like they don't really have the drive. And I also tell people, you know, like a lot of people don't realize this, but like even Dylan Thompson back in the day, like Dylan worked as a janitor at Snowboard for years in order to like actually pursue it, you know, but he wanted more than just to be sponsored. I mean, being sponsored is cool, but I feel like a lot of kids just want to be able to say they're sponsored and they don't care who it's from, you know? And so they don't have that brand connection to, you know, like for me, Death Label, I feel like I kind of,
you connect with
that
it.
is my brand, you know,
for
like,
sure.
That's the board I would be going and buying even if I wasn't snowboarding.
And those are the kind of riders that I want to hook up is the people.
Yeah.
It's like they don't have some other option. They're not like looking around like, you know, like, and I've hooked up riders before that got kind of in their head about things and started like looking and getting this like grass is greener on the other side kind of whatever, you know, and it's, I mean, it's fine. Like you leave, whatever. It's cool. Like I understand we're a small brand and like you might think it might be better to ride this brand's board or whatever, but you know, like I want to hook up riders that are like definitely fit in here and like just want to like make themselves part of this. Like some riders I'm like giving pro forms to now, like they bought stuff originally full price, and I'm like, this rider is like way too good to be, you know, and like might not have a spot for them right now, or maybe they're not at the level now where I'm trying to sponsor them, but like they're sick, and then I offer them a pro form and they end up buying a board. For like whatever percentage off that is. But like that's kind of the type of person I'm looking for that's like invested in you, and then I'm like, you're sick too, like take the product, like here you go, I want to support you, like let's do this.
I mean, especially nowadays it seems like, I mean, I'm not going to speak for everything here, but it seems like paychecks in snowboarding have really they haven't gone away, but they've certainly gone
it's different.
A little, not quite as much as like what we probably used to get before. So I think nowadays, or now more than ever, it's more important to really be in love with a brand that you want to be involved with, as opposed to a brand that's just going to give you a paycheck. Because I mean, who knows? Maybe like that rep from Capita says, "Hey, yeah, dude, like I'll start giving you boards," and they leave you to go ride for the rep, and then they sit on that rep program for forever. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, which I've seen happen too with people. I mean, I was fortunate, you know, I left a small brand in order to move on and try something new, and it kind of paid off for me, but it wasn't like, you know, I know that maybe doesn't always happen with everybody. And I think there's a lot to it. So I think that just like really caring about the brand that you ride for is really crucial.
Yeah. And I think that's like kind of how I was with Zion, because like prior to riding for Zion, I rode for Burton. I was on the rep program. I was kind of like getting passed up for like the TM like contract. I had like there's a whole fiasco. I don't even want to go into it, but like I had started winning competitions and like making a name.
You definitely
for
won
myself.
a lot of competitions. I was there. I was on the losing end of a lot of those competitions.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. I'll forgive you.
But yeah, so I hopped on board with Zion because I knew a lot of the riders and I like fit in with the team and thought it was a cool brand. And then they also kind of like offered. They were like, I think they were not sure if I would stick around because I was getting other offers and stuff too. So they were like, hey, you're artistic, like you want a pro model that you get to design and stuff. So like that even kind of solidified it for me a little bit more there. But like I think I kind of earned that, right? Because they knew I was like maybe gonna like have some like offers that would pay a lot, and I did actually. I like turned down like a couple offers.
I've heard rumors. We can talk about them later, but
we could talk about them later if we want. But I mean, we don't have to. I don't need to bring anyone's name up. I got my own board company to promote.
There you go.
But I was with them for like 10 years, and yeah, I loved riding for those guys. They had a sick brand, and you know, unfortunate that they're not making boards right now. But yeah, I think by the end, I had seen like, okay, like I'm at a place now where maybe it's like the next thing, like what's the next thing? And I didn't really feel like I identified with any other brand or any other brand really identified with me, especially not as strongly as like the relationship that I had with Zion, where I would get a pro model and they'd like really want to push me, market me, and have me be like one of their main guys, you know?
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, I'm going to like leave this small brand and maybe just get lost in the mix somewhere else, because I didn't ride for a big brand my whole snowboard career, all those 10 years. Like I couldn't just like jump to some other like sizable brand and be like their top tier like marketed guy or whatever, which I don't know, maybe that sounds like, I don't know how that sounds to you, but like I was just like,
no, I mean, I get it.
You know,
I get it 100%.
I was like pushing with Zion for like potentially like more board models that I could design, maybe like a POW board, like kind of this like offshoot line with Zion. And they were like, we just like can't do it. You know, like you're doing well, you're selling boards and everything like that, but the brand as a whole isn't like ready to do that. And they even said, Walter Frost, shout out Walter, like he was even like, I think maybe you should start your own brand or whatever, which I was like, in my mind, I was kind of like, could I and I don't know if I had the thought before then or not, but like, I think at that point it ruminated for like 6 months or something. And then before I knew it, like my now wife, Casey, and I were just like starting a brand and then had boards. And
I mean, poof. it's a bold endeavor. Did you have to get investment from anybody, or did you just have money saved up and you were able to do it? Did you do a pre-order in the beginning, or?
No, we just like, I don't even know why we had, I mean, it wasn't like a ton of money. Like
Well, I
think
we probably
started
thing.
with like less than $5,000 or something.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get confused. But again, you also did have that relationship with that factory.
Yeah.
And yeah, maybe in another person's situation, I don't know. If they have no relationship, they might need a lot more capital to jump in and start. But I do think people tend to forget, like not tend to forget, but maybe don't realize that you don't need $1 million to like start a brand. But you don't have to start and become.
It's also not going to be your brand so much so anymore if you start with some investors' money. Like, that could get it confused. I don't know. So, like, I don't have a problem keeping it a small brand. For me, like, I'm making money off of it, but like, that's not really the big point. Like, I want to have a cool snowboard brand, and like, that's like the joke. It's kind of almost a joke, like the board of your dreams or whatever. Like, came from it, like being called Sleep Snowboards, like.
Yeah.
I didn't call it Sleep Snowboards because it's the board of the dreams.
But like tag the board of your dreams.
It's kind of like tacky and cheesy, a little bit like funny. But I love it. I feel like that's what I want to make. Is like I want to make sick boards. The factory that we work with like makes insanely good boards. We haven't had a single warranty issue. Like,
that's great.
Like straight up, they make really good boards, and then couple that with like myself riding it, the team riding it, my wife riding it, like the community of people that have been riding and testing out the boards and stuff like that, and giving feedback and like continuing to push forward. Like I want to eventually like make boards that not only have like dreamy, dope, sick graphics on them, but also are just like the best snowboards in the industry as well.
Yeah.
And the best materials, you know, like all that, you know?
Yeah. As far as materials go, is there a sizable price difference for you buying them at cost after they're getting made of, say, like a sintered base versus like, well, I don't know, let's say a die cut base versus like a sublimated base versus a screen printed base?
Yeah. Well, that's where like those different markets start to like you start to become aware of all that stuff, and like this world economy and stuff. Like wood was really expensive at the height of COVID. I don't know if it's like gone down or what, but it's also, I should note, like another thing that's kind of funny is like we started this when like everything was like skyrocketed, like through the roof. I remember like shipping boards from our factory to America was like $60 a board when we started. Oof. I was like, talk about like cutting into your margins. Like,
yeah.
And they said that was like 10 times as high as it normally is. And anyways, like,
do you have a distributor?
We don't have a distributor yet.
Okay.
We are kind of looking for a distributor because it'd be nice for like overseas and all that, like figuring out just, lower distributors and reps would just be awesome.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's my wife and I just doing everything, reaching out to shops to see if they want to carry it, doing demos, things like that, all that stuff. But what I was going to say is actually like every different thing, sintered base, extruded, matte top sheet, glossy, all that stuff, like those prices are always fluctuating, but like, you have to factor all these different things into like a snowboard and the whole total of the price. And then also don't forget tariffs. You're going to get a FedEx bill like a month later and be like,
yeah. And you probably have to deal with like customs and all that stuff too, right?
Yeah. That's what I mean by tariffs is customs. Yeah. But so there were like definitely a bunch of costs, but we're handling it pretty well. So.
I mean, that's a lot to tackle, just you and your wife. I mean, it's a lot to tackle, period. And it's just you two, there's like, right. There's you don't have like a team of other people doing stuff.
No, not yet. I mean, I think it'll happen over time, like more people start hearing about this and more people are like, I could be of service or value to your brand. Like I want to get involved too. And then maybe like, I mean, it's in a way like we're already like paying a factory to do a job, like we're paying those factory workers to like make our boards. So it's like add more heads in the mix. Like let's get some reps, like let's get a distributor, like let's get people to, maybe we hire a team manager or like this person or that person to like help with social or marketing. But I think also starting from the ground up, it's like, you just have to like do everything.
Yeah.
Or, like you have to do everything to like get it done, but also just to like know a little bit of everything and know what's what and stuff like that. And then start to be like, okay, like what are these like little different jobs? And then like, how can we outsource some of those things? And like, I feel so weird talking like this because I feel like I'm a snowboarder, but this is like the background.
Yeah, it's cool. And a lot of people don't probably ever think about it.
Most people don't get this side of me when I'm talking to them, but
of all the challenges that you guys have faced, is there something in particular that has been like the most difficult? Was it the tariff or, taxes that you weren't expecting? Anything like that besides like shipping? Obviously that was probably a pretty, but
I would say it's maybe shops and like shop terms, like what they want and how they want to pay, and seeing how things, let's say I should probably be careful here because I don't want to like reveal too much information or whatnot, but like seeing how offering some certain terms affected some of my former relationships, like people and like waiting around for people to pay you. I don't know, you're like you don't want to get yourself in this like financial fiasco. And so
certainly
like maybe the terms that we offer are not like what a bigger brand is offering. They might certainly be comparable to a couple different bigger brands, but you're competing in that space in that market, and like building up those relationships, and like also mad respect to all the shops that have these relationships with their reps that rep certain products. And like that's the real reason why they're buying those brands. Sometimes I'm trying not to get like offended when a shop doesn't want to like go that route with me or says like, we just can't do those, those terms. Like I still have a ton of respect for those shops and what they have to do. Cause like it's, they got to do what they got to do and stuff. So I think that's been one of the main things is like, we aren't super shop heavy right now, which a lot of brands aren't. There are only like a few brands that are more shop heavy than they are like online heavy. So you're just kind of figuring that stuff out. Like I never was like a huge salesperson and really into, like I worked at this board shop called Summit Board Shop when I was a kid, but I only worked there because I also rode for the team and needed a job at the time. So I've never been like super into this like salesy thing and like all this business stuff. So just kind of like coming around on that side. Like if it were up to me, I'd hire someone else to do all that stuff, and I would just do the art and just be a snowboarder for the brand. Like that's what I would do. But right now, that's not the only thing I'm doing.
But that's cool that you're getting to learn all that other stuff too, though.
Yeah, for sure. It's good to have like the knowledge of it and kind of build relationships with the community and different shop owners and stuff.
For sure. Well, man, it sounds like there's a lot more that goes into it than meets the eye. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
yeah, I mean, like I said, I do, my graphic every year, and I'm like stressed out about that. So I can't imagine doing 9-10 others, as well as trying to figure out where I'm selling them.
But it's fun though.
Yeah. It gives you something to do in that off season.
Or in like November or something.
Yeah, for sure.
I usually don't have my graphics done like in the summer.
Well, where can we find you? Snowboards.com?
Yeah, sleepsnowboards.com. We're also available at Get Boards, Help Board Shop here in the Twin Cities area. So yeah, or just ask your local shop about us. Maybe they'll pick us up.
Yep. And Ryan Paul on Instagram.
Ryan A. Paul
on Instagram.
Ryan Paul.
And
got 30 followers.
Is there another Ryan Paul?
Yeah, there's a Ryan Paul, and there's also an @RP. And I tried to buy @RP, and he like wanted some insane amount of crypto or something.
Oh my god!
And he was kind of a dick to me.
Yeah. I know my TikTok is the only one that's the Andrew Brewer. And
really? That's dope.
And there's an Andrew Brewer.
Wait, are you at Andrew Brewer or at the Andrew Brewer?
At the Andrew Brewer on TikTok. Right. And yeah, I
sick.
Messaged Andrew Brewer, at Andrew Brewer, and he had no response. I'm like, come on, man.
I'm at Rizzle Pizzle on TikTok.
Yeah.
People really seem to like that. I don't know.
No one likes that?
No, people do seem to like that. I get a lot of compliments on it. Arpiz.
I like
Someone
it.
called me it a long time ago, so I just use it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Well, dude, thank you so much for stopping by, man.
Yeah, thank you.
That was dope. We got to have you on the show more and just keep chatting about snowboarding. But I'm glad you were able to swing by to chat about boarding or about starting your own board. Not even about boarding. We didn't even really talk about boarding. We just talked about starting a snowboarding boarding brand.
Boarding.
Yeah.
Boarding.
Well, hell yeah, man. Alrighty, guys. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you guys head on over to thedropsnowboarding.com. Give us a follow on Instagram. Subscribe to us on YouTube. All of those things. You know how it is.
Yeah, buddy.
Just got to say it. But RP, man, thank you so much for hanging out.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew.
Until next time, buddy.
Cheers.
All right, guys. Adios. Later. See ya. Peace.